Yeah. Well, I mean, actually, it's interesting. I mean, I'll get on to my exclusives for you. So I've literally walked in 2 minutes ago from a meeting with a Whitehall official who got in touch with me. He has the highest security clearance. He works part of the time for the intelligence services, and he said that they actually all like the book. I'm a good guy, but the royal family don't like it. And in fact, the first thing that they did was actually get lawyers to pore over it to see if there was any case that they could bring against it. Fortunately, they found nothing there. I mean, we had been very careful, and gave me several stories about how awful Andrew was. In fact, how the whole thing worked, which I can explain. Basically, how Andrew, and this people don't like this, but I'm afraid I can only tell you what I've been told and what I've found, is that the Queen protected Andrew, that basically all the huge amount of expenditure that he had was signed off. There was a special committee of the Permanent Undersecretary at the Foreign Office and the Department of Trade with the Queen's private secretary. And they basically rubber stamped everything that he wanted. There were people in the Department of Trade who were concerned about this, about the huge costs of Andrew's trips and the pointlessness of many of them. But they were, in fact, officials who complained, which is sort of what I found, actually found their careers were curtailed or forced to take early retirement. So no one wanted to listen. I mean, I'll see if I can get my notes on this.
Yeah, that would be great.
So you can see, yeah. So it had these shadowy committees that were basically supporting the expenses. That they think they said most of the files were destroyed. All the flight logs for Andrew flying places, they're all being destroyed at the time. All the discussions were basically off the record in corridor conversations and post-it notes.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a cabinet committee meeting every 6 months. He was taking his daughters on a lot of these trips, which they didn't like, with all the attendant costs of the PPOs.
Did you know that the flight logs have been destroyed at the time, Andrew, or were you still hoping there was some around?
I was hoping there was still some around. I mean, I've been given the runaround on flight logs. I mean, I've tried MOD and various people, and they often claimed they were closed or didn't have them. So the fact that they were destroyed, they also said that anything to do with the Duke of York went straight to Buckingham Palace. The record keeping was minuscule. That basically half the records are not put on the computer or in the records management.
So they knew that he was doing things that could, come up at a later point as being misconduct in office, and they made sure there was nothing there that could be found.
Exactly. And I think people were moved off. I mean, he told me about officials in procurement who were moved off when they complained, and tame people were brought in, who, of course, were then given gongs. He said that you should be really looking at places like Tunisia and Malaysia, where there were huge bills. What else have I got? Well, he also talked about, he met Andrew, and he had this strange thing. He said it was a bit like Princess Margaret, where he'd be talking to you 1 minute, and then you just like walk away in the middle of a conversation. And certainly Andrew, or he would leave before he made the speech that he was meant to make. And that's certainly, I have stories in the book of, in Brazil, where he suddenly decides to leave. So there's quite a lot of that.
So this person, was he actually on the trade junkets, or was he knew of staff that were on these trips?
He was a backroom boy who knew what was going on, and I think tried to speak out against it too.
Right.
Yeah, he said one of the interesting things here is Andrew was given ministerial status, which the Duke of Kent hadn't had, which allowed him to approve his own expenses. So that was one way around it. He said the Duke of Kent was very was actually doing a very good job. He was very angry to be taken off the job by the Queen and given to Andrew.